What's up there, Misfits? Welcome to Paiges of Ascension. Of course, welcome back if you've been hanging out with me here for a little bit now. This is your zodiac season guide for fixed signs for Gemini season, okay? So, before we get too much further into this, I did get some downloaded messages for y'all. So, for the entirety of the Fixed Collective, what I got was some of you may need to sweat it out, like in a sauna, like a dry sauna, or like go to a sweat lodge, for example, like in the Native American tradition. Okay. In that particular tradition, the sweat produces a spiritual experience. So some of y'all are thinking about going to a sweat lodge, but what was really interesting when I was getting this message for you is that as this download was coming through, a car alarm kept going off. So like, I don't know if it's going to be something with your car, like you might get there and get stranded and have no way back. Or even if it's just as a warning that maybe this is now is not the time, to participate in this particular sweat, for example. So that may apply for some of you. Okay. Now, specifically the message that I got for Taurus was, what's the difference between a cook and a chef? It appears to be gender and respect. And if you weren't for sure, you're going to find out over Gemini season. Okay, so I don't know what that means exactly for any of y'all, but that's what came through. So as I was shuffling, what's really interesting is this particular card came out. It's called The Call. Oh, I think, like, can we get rid of the glare? I'm trying so hard to get rid of the glare, but I don't think it's kind of working for my setup here. So y'all will have to bear with me. But it says The Call. It says, honor the whisper of your soul. So what was really interesting about when this card came up, actually, oh, and I'm just moving everything. Okay. What was really interesting is that when I was shuffling, this card literally stood up on its own just like this. So I went ahead and pulled it out of the deck because clearly that is a part of your message for Gemini season. All right. So as I start getting your cards all shuffled up for the board, I want you to take a peek over here to the side of your screen. Go ahead and read my disclaimer. That is for any and every single video on this channel. Okay, go ahead and pause it if you need to in order to read everything. If you're down, stick around. If not, this is a good time to exit stage left. Okay, so I think that's about it for messages. I'm not hearing anything else come through, so we're going to go ahead and get on with the shuffle. Get your cards on the table, and in the meantime, please enjoy these dancing bears. So fixed signs, bottom of the deck, you have the Knight of Swords. So what I'm already finding super interesting about your reading is that there is a whole lot of movement going on right now. You have 3 knights representing an energy in this reading. 4 knights. Holy crap. Okay, what's the tipping point? Oh! Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. This is awesome. Okay. So let's look at your theme. Spiritual career. All right, fixed signs. So for some of you that are involved in a spiritual based career, whether you are a preacher, a teacher, a tarot reader, a psychic, medium, anything that kind of falls under that umbrella where your job, what brings you income, is giving people guidance. Okay, this reading is likely going to apply to you. Now, I can't help but notice because the call card came out and the way that it came out as I was getting your reading started, I feel like there is a subsection of people who I am talking to in this video who are just kind of thinking and ruminating on starting a spiritual career. This is not something that you've actually taken the leap into yet, if that makes sense, okay? But you're ready here, especially with the Empress popping out right at the very front of your reading. Now, I have to also point this out, the fact that I specifically got a message for Taurus this particular season. Okay, Taurus, you are represented by the Empress along with Libra. Okay, so I mean, you could be quick to say that you're feeling the call for motherhood. You've got some options as to who. You've got a page up in the mix, and 4 nights or 3 nights that you know about and 1 that you don't, and you can manifest whichever one you want. If this was a love reading, this would be pretty clear cut and we could cut the video off now. However, that is not the case with this reading, and that is not what I'm getting from this Empress card. Okay, so this is you ready to bring something into fruition. You're ready to move. You're ready to go. I almost get a little bit of, like antsy energy coming off of this reading because of all the movement cards. Like, I don't think I've ever seen, a reading where there was 4 nights present, for the energy of 4 nights present, and none of them are really all in the same direction. Okay, so what that kind of tells me in this instance, because the Empress is looking ahead, she's not looking at anybody else on the table. Now, you could say that there's 2 options within the spiritual career path, excuse me, confirmation, that you are looking to take. One is a little bit more emotionally based and one is a little bit more financially based. And that's how you're kind of applying your decisions as far as which direction to go, which of these nights to look at. The Knight of Wands, however, is looking straight at you. So I feel like there is one particular area within the spiritual career that you're thinking about, that you're in, that you're seeking. And this is something that sticks out a little bit more, okay? However, the downside that I'm seeing with the Knight of Wands being here is that this kind of feels like quick money, if that makes sense. Quick money. So not necessarily something that is going to stick around, that's going to be stable. And I feel like to some degree, if you pursued whatever career path this is that would align with the Knight of Wands within the spiritual career sector, I'm not feeling like you would be very satisfied with that either. Okay. On the other hand, the same thing goes with the Knight of Cups. I mean, these two are effectively opposing each other. Okay. But you have to pay attention to the fact that the Knight of Cups is looking at the Magician. So you will manifest this through getting in touch with your emotions. What makes you feel emotionally full and vibrant? You know, what is it that you can eat, sleep, and drink and, you know, forget to do everything else? What feels so consuming to you that there's just this call, this pull, that you have to do it? I feel like that's where you should be looking. So whatever stirs you emotionally, if that makes sense, is where I would be looking for to utilize your manifestation abilities, if that makes sense, okay? So, again, same thing with the Page of Wands here. Like, it's like there's whatever part of the spiritual career. Okay, I need to come up with some examples here to make this make sense. Give me just a second, y'all. Okay. Now, I've come up with my 3. Now, this is not saying that these cards are necessarily associated with these careers. This is just me trying to get the point across of what I'm getting, okay? So say the Wand suit in this particular scenario is like mediumship, okay? No. Scratch that. Be patient with me, okay? Okay, let's say the wand suit in this instance is astrology, okay? You connecting with source, figuring out how source moves through the planets, through the lives of people, through astrology, studying the sky, okay? You like astrology, you even feel good about astrology, but you don't feel like in and of itself it's going to be very satisfying to you, okay? You feel like when you dig into astrology, for example, that there's something else missing. Like it needs its bestie in order to make complete and total sense for how you see things playing out, okay? So let's say that the cup suit is channeling, for example. So you channel spirits. You channel the divine, okay? Like mediumship. We'll call this the mediumship card. Okay? Getting in touch with spirit that way. Getting in touch with source that way. And being able to transmit the messages that you're getting for the collective, your clients, whoever it is. You know, that's the Knight of Cups and the Magician working together, okay? It's you co-creating with the universe, all right? So say that the Knight of Pentacles is cartomancy, okay? So reading tarot cards, reading playing cards, reading Lenormand, oracle cards, anything that, you know, card, okay? We'll call that the Knight of Pentacles. The way that this is playing out, it's like you like astrology, but you're not in love with it. You love the idea of being able to transmit messages from those beyond to those that are still here to help to heal them. However, you feel like that's not quite enough, but you know that's in the right direction. So you go back to arguing with yourself about figuring out how to tie astrology and mediumship into together. And there's almost this battle within self, I feel like, with the Page of Wands and the Seven of Wands here, okay? So then you get to the book end of your reading, your true wealth and abundance, okay? And we're not just talking financially, but your tangible wealth and abundance still is going to be found within this Knight of Pentacles card. So, for example, that would be being a cartomancer, which is why... And this makes sense to me because the Empress is bookending your reading. And the tipping point is the Magician. Now, it takes a certain amount of observation of your own intuition, observation of your own cues, you know, basically figuring out the codex between you and your guides in the universe when you're getting messages. That is Magician energy, as far as I am concerned, okay? Can also be represented by High Priestess energy. Now, that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's just a lot of indecision on your part. I feel like you're being pulled in multiple places and you're not quite sure where to invest your energy. So for you, the cue is to what makes your heart feel full and is something that can be tangible in the real world and bring you success. Okay, so let's look at your clarifiers. Oh gosh, what do we clarify in this? There's so much. I'm curious about this connection here between the Knight of Cups and the Magician, but I also really want to look at, like, all of this over here. Because it's like, confirmation. You start to go this direction once you realize that this Knight of Wands energy is not, confirmation, fitting for where you would like to go. So you continue to trudge this direction. And it's like, you're either, even though I'm getting this Seven of Wands as more of an energy of you kind of fighting aspects of yourself, the Seven of Wands typically represents having to be defensive. Okay, being put in a state of defense. So you're having to defend what you're doing, rationalize why you're making the moves that you're making to someone. Okay, the Seven of Wands doesn't appear unless there's some type of opposition, but the way the cards tend to speak to me is that Seven of Wands, that opposition, can also be within self. Okay, so we're going to look at all three of these over here, and then we're going to look at the Knight of Cups and the Magician. You know what? Your reading is like dopalicious. Fixed signs. I'm so feeling this. I am so feeling this for you. Whoop. Wow. Did you guys just see that? They literally went two separate ways. It's very, very scattered energy. I'm not keeping either one of those. So your emotions are heavily at play right now. So that's interesting. The King of Earth was the card that popped off to the right, which ironically is the one that is going in this direction. This direction here. Okay. So we obviously know that emotions are playing a large part in this decision. And it really comes down to, I think for some of you, you've already invested in a certain area more than others. And that might have been your cue that that's the direction that you should be looking to take the spiritual career or to head into for your spiritual career. Okay. I do see you giving a lot of yourself to this particular path. And I do feel like you'll be rewarded for it, but emotions are heavily at play. So there's always a sense of balance and perspective that needs to be kept when emotions are at the forefront, okay? Let's look at these three here. We had a flipper. Oh, come here. There we go. Oh, and it was already upright. Yeah, what I sense here is that there's just more passion going towards the practical for you fixed signs. And honestly, that doesn't surprise me. Pentacles could very much be considered your energy because it is fixed, because it is tangible. Okay, it is in the physical. And I feel like for quite a few of you, I'm seeing like a cardinal fixed energy here more than mutable energy, if that makes sense. I would consider the Magician to be a lot more of a mutable energy. And then all the wands being cardinal energy. But because your reading is being bookended by, you know, the Taurus Libra card and the Knight of Pentacles, it makes me think that this is very heavy. Like you've got heavy cardinal energy in your chart, for example. Okay, anyways. So passion is absolutely present in here. It's what makes you feel whole. What makes you feel more connected to the divine. And that's what you should be going towards, okay? I do feel like some of you out there do have channeling abilities that could stand to be developed a little bit. And ironically enough, for some of you, developing that channeling ability or even that mediumship ability has to do with you connecting to others on a level of vulnerability that you may not have before. I hope that makes sense. Let me get one more card for this. This could also be connecting to a level of vulnerability within yourself. So getting, you know, continuing to focus on getting your masculine and feminine energy into a state of balance instead of polarizing opposites, which that's definitely an energy that I'm getting here. Yahtzee. Wow. Bottom of the deck is the Mother. That's the Empress. That is the Empress card, okay? However, in this particular deck, she's with child in this. So, again, I'm still not getting a heavy motherhood vibe, if you will. This isn't someone who's necessarily getting ready to confirmation. Give birth to a child, okay? But I do feel like you are about to give birth to something very, very creative, okay? It's almost like with all this excess movement that's kind of going on here, that they're almost tests, if that makes sense, that the universe is sending your way. It's like, well, I can give you this and that's easy. Do you really want it? Well, it doesn't necessarily make me passionate about. That's not what I was trying to manifest, so I'm going to keep on going. So this is the King of Air. So it definitely has something to do with communication within a spiritual career. And it's that communication that is going to prove to be more tangible for you. So whatever it is within the spiritual career, okay, we could be talking, for some of you, you're thinking about podcasting, okay? This would tell me that that's a good idea. That could potentially be a moneymaker for you. It's something that can bring something tangible to you as far as abundance goes, okay? So let's look at your other cards, and then my boob keeps hitting that. Okay, so we already said the call, all right? So we've already looked at that. And that is very fitting for this reading. It's amazing to me sometimes how the cards come out like that. So your second your second card is stand up and be recognized. Behold, you are the inspiration you've been looking for. So for some of you, and trying to figure out either what to do with a spiritual career that you're already in, or in how to pursue a spiritual career, you've been looking externally to yourself to try to develop what that looks like for you. And what Spirit is saying here is you need to look within and not look without. Okay, to get your answers from this, because the answers are literally already there. You just need to put the elements together to paint a complete picture. All right, and that takes taking a step back and getting centered to see what messages are coming through for you on how to proceed for this, okay? I get the feeling that some of you who may be already very connected with Spirit when it comes to channeling for other people, but you have a little bit harder of a time channeling those energies for yourself. So listening to advice from Spirit, your higher self, for yourself, okay? I hope that makes sense. All right, so surrender. Okay, that is your lesson for Gemini season, all right? There's a sense of control that some of you might have, almost, I wouldn't quite say vice grip, because I get way more confusion than anything else off of this, but there's something within this process of being directed into this career path, or this brand new path for you, that you need to surrender to, okay? You know, you can choose what direction you start to walk down, but after that, like, you don't have a map. You just have to follow the trail and follow the guides, the guidance that you're being given, okay? So again, I feel like for some of you, it's easier to listen to messages for other people than it is for yourself, and that is something that needs to be worked on, and that's just going to make your gifts that much stronger, okay? So we're going to go ahead and call it here. You had a really awesome reading, Fixed Signs. I am so happy that I waited to do your reading. I did try once or twice before. It just was not feeling it. Cards were not feeling it. Told me to sit my ass down. So I did. Listening to that inner guidance. Okay. That's all I've got for you, Fixed Signs. I hope you have a wonderful Gemini season. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. It helps every single YouTuber. Any YouTube video that you watch, liking and positive engagement with the channel helps the YouTuber. So please don't forget to do that before you head off to the next video, all right? So with that, your peace is your power, and I'll see you next time. Bye.